Jagan Garu, before I call you on stage, just a word on what we witnessed firsthand and discussed here as a part of the Education Summit. We had the privilege of visiting one of your schools here in Tirupati to see the kind of development that has happened in the education sector. And the fact that it's here in Tirupati is testament to the fact that your development, your schemes have really seeped into every layer of Andhra Pradesh, to every city, to every single town. And I think a lot of us, me and my colleagues, when we were at these schools, discussed very often saying, we wish we studied in one of these schools because of the kind of steps that were taken, the fact that they were IFPs, the fact that every student had a tablet, and this is something we spoke in great detail about as well. You know, all of this ensures is a model that Andhra Pradesh follows, is perhaps something every state can learn from. You even have an AI bot that can give some serious competition to our AI anchor, Sana. So that was wonderful to see, the fact that there's a tutor available for every student, and that ensures that global opportunities are available for government school students in Andhra Pradesh, which is amazing. And we hear, sir, from officials who've been speaking to us since day one, that all of this is a result of your personal interest in the education sector, as a result of your passion in this sector. So a huge round of applause, please, for the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister. Can I request Rajdeep Sardesai to please come up on the stage and welcome the Honourable Chief Minister.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the India Today Education Summit here in the historic spiritual city of Tirupati. And one can't think of a better place in which to talk about just what education can do to lift the lives of millions of Indians. And that's exactly what Andhra Pradesh is attempting to do. I had first-hand sense of this when a month ago we put out a story of a group of young meritorious boys and girls from low-income groups, underprivileged families who were traveling through the United States to get a sense of what was happening in that country, in the United Nations, even at the White House. And when I saw their images, it was clear that Andhra Pradesh was trying to do something different in bridging the big education divide and creating equal opportunities. And for that alone, I think the Chief Minister who's with us, Mr. Jagan Reddy, deserves a big hand for attempting that in the times in which we live. Thank you very much, Jaganji, for joining us. You've been very quiet in the last 5 years since you took over. Perhaps this is the first time you're coming on television in these 5 years. Is it that you've learned that the only way to be in politics is to let your work do the talking? Is that how you have seen yourself? Why have you been so silent in the national media? It almost seems as if you made Andhra Pradesh the space where you want to do all your work and prove yourself.
As you said, I'm glad that our team of India Today journalists have visited our schools, have seen what's happening there. And that I'm really glad about that, because no matter what I speak, it is only when you see what has happened, only then you get a sense of what had been done. So I'm happy about that.
Because the reason I ask is, one of the charges made against Indian politicians in general and Indian governments in general is we don't invest enough in education. In fact, education and health, which really are critical to building a better society. So is this a shift that you're trying to make in the way you see governance when you say that you want to put Andhra Pradesh on the map when it comes to education by bringing in new technologies, by trying to bridge the divide between rural and urban students, between government schools and private schools. Is this something close to your heart, or do you believe every politician now needs to look at education as their number one priority sector?
In fact, Rajdeep, the only way we can, at some stage, think about removing poverty or eradicating poverty, the only way, I strongly believe, is by quality education. A right to education is no longer the buzzword. A right to quality education should become the buzzword. What is the point in bringing up an education system where the poor get to study something else, where the rich study something else, where the poor get to study only Telugu medium, where the government schools only teach Telugu medium, whereas the aspiration and whereas the rich who can afford get to be educated in English medium. So if that were to be the divide, then that division between the rich and the poor would never be wiped out. It would continue until and unless with what the rich could afford. That is where these changes have originated from that thought. In fact, if I would want to see my government children, the downtrodden children, get the same education as my own children would get, or probably your own children would get, or probably any of the affluent class parents would provide for their children.
Because, you have made making English medium schools or teaching English across schools one of the priority areas across government schools. Even bringing in TOEFL from class 3. I mean, an exam which is a global exam, you bring it into schools from class 3 onwards, they get exposed to English, which has led to some criticism, including from the former Vice President Venkaiah Naidu ji, who said, we should be teaching Telugu medium to our schools. Are you diminishing Telugu by forcing students to learn English? How do you respond to that?
See, what is very important, Rajdeep, is the so-called people who criticize me on government schools being converted into English medium. I mean, one straight question, what they should ask themselves is their children and their grandchildren, what are they studying? Are they sending their children and their grandchildren also to Telugu medium schools? That's the first question what anybody should be asking themselves before they could question me on my initiative towards English medium schools.
So your answer to Venkaiah Naidu is essentially, please tell us, sir, where did you send your children or your grandchildren to? You're saying you want to bridge that gap and you believe English is a critical element, because is it easy for someone who's in a small village in Andhra Pradesh to immediately be able to be exposed to English language? Will it lead to dropouts is the fear? Will it lead to a disruption in their education?
Not so, Rajdeep, because it's a comprehensive plan of action which has been put in place. To begin with, we've ensured that every textbook is bilingual. One page Telugu, one page English. All our textbooks are bilingual. We've ensured that Baiju's content is also integrated into our content. We've also ensured that the facilities in our government schools are totally upgraded. There's a Nadu Nedu program, which speaks of only upgrading the infrastructure in school. Every classroom going forward from 6th and above, you have IFPs. In fact, we have close to 62,000 classrooms, which are 6th and above. So far, as we speak, we've already fitted close to 40,000 IFPs. And my team had given me a report that the balance would be also done. They'd given me a date of Jan end, but government, being government, maybe on the higher side, maybe Feb. Maybe by Feb end at least, definitely, all the classrooms, the balance of the classrooms, so 20,000, also would be fitted with IFPs. So it's a transition what you're moving towards, with bilingual textbooks, with subject teacher concept from 3rd grade onwards, with capacity building of the teachers also taking place simultaneously, with IFPs, with Byju's content, all this put together, and a student when he reaches the 8th grade. We are on December 21st, we also give them tabs. So every student, government student who is 8th class gets a tab also in the 8th class with the preloaded Byju's content.
Every government student in Andhra Pradesh in 8th standard gets a tablet with this content readily available. The reason I'm asking you is because one of the things in COVID we found was the vast digital divide. Those who did not have access to technology found themselves losing out across the country. And Andhra also at that time was no exception. It was a difficult period for all. Are you saying today with confidence that you will have over the next few years, since they've now got it in 8th, over the next 3 years, every student 8th, 9th and 10th in Andhra Pradesh will have a tablet that he or she can work out of?
8th and 9th children they already have tablets, because this is 2 years have already passed. We started off, the whole theme is the moment they get to the 8th class, on December 21st, we give them tabs. So
that's your birthday. That's your birthday gift to Andhra Pradesh, is a tablet. Right? Effectively, it's not a bad birthday to give. Bad birthday gift to be giving people.
It's usually that I go to these schools, spend time with the children there on my birthday. So on that particular day, the thing that is closest to my heart, I do it. So.
But you see, the question will arise, is Jagan Mohan Reddy trying too much too soon? Because as you said yourself just now, government systems take time to catch up. You're pushing them in the direction of making even these schools not just nationally but globally competitive. You're bringing even international baccalaureate, the kind of prestigious education that is only seen in the big city schools. Is it too much? Are you going too fast at times? Do you worry that, because that's the criticism from opposition parties, it will lead to dropouts, enrollments will drop out, parents will wonder, is this the education I want to give my children, or do you believe that aspirational India is ready for it?
No, with IB, the thing is, in fact, IB is, they're joining our SCERT, our board, state board, on 31st. So from that particular day, IB would be part of our SCERT, our board. The roadmap with IB is the first year, that is 20 till June 25. It's only going to be capacity building to the teachers, the whole year. Then going forward from from 25 onwards, 2025 June onwards, going forward, one class per year. That is, they start off with the first class. Then year after that, the transformation into IB is moved into second class, then the third class. By 2035, you would have our children in government schools appear exams competing for an IB certificate. It's going to be a certificate with the state government collaboration with IB. And this certificate would be the same certificate on par with international baccalaureate certificate given abroad, given anywhere internationally. So that is the roadmap with IB. The reason why we are just moving in this direction is because, Rajdeep, as I said, it is the quality of education which is the most significant thing. If the quality of education is not good enough, our children can never compete globally. So we're not talking about India as one country now. Now the world has become a next door place. So we're talking about a situation where our children would have to be competing globally. And you cannot say that only the rich can compete globally. Then you would never see in India an aspirational India. If only the rich can compete with globally. So you need to ensure that the downtrodden section catches up. You need to ensure that the downtrodden section are equipped with the skills going forward that they could be competing globally.
But two questions arise from what you've just said. It's a great vision to make, let's say, someone in rural Guntur be able to compete with someone in the United States or in any Western country. But capacity building in terms of teachers, to have those quality teachers who can actually be able to impart this education. Because there's a sense that, as I said, are you going too fast? Will you be able to get teachers, enough teachers in your government schools who can provide that quality education that you speak of?
As I said, it is an effort combined with IB. IB and the state government are coming together. In fact, all my appreciation and thanks to IB as well. The Director General, the people there in IB, after we had interacted with them, in fact, I personally also interacted, we could convince them to become part of us. So now IB officially is setting up their office alongside our SCERT, becoming part of SCERT. And they're moving here. So this is the game changer. Now they become part of us. So now with this vision, the goal is 2035. Our children would appear for 10th, writing IB. So that is the goal with which the state government and IB together are working towards.
So it's a 12-year project. You're saying over these 12 years, you will build that capacity with teachers, with the support of IB is what you're claiming.
Absolutely. The first year going for capacity building of the teachers. Then onwards, every year, one class. First, the first grade, then the second grade, then the third grade, then the fourth grade, fifth, sixth, and so on and so forth, till they reach the 10th, and then 11th and 12th.
This will require, some believe, a huge amount of resources, funds. Governments are often accused of not investing enough in education. For you, do you believe that that is again a question? Do you have enough funds? Does Andhra Pradesh today have the kind of funds to realize this vision, this dream that you have?
Funds per se, Rajdeep, IB is also understanding enough that this is a government project. To them, they also want to prove to the world that IB is not just only for the aloof. So there has been an understanding reached with IB that they also become part of the state government. That being the case, it's not exactly going to be that kind of royalties what the high premium schools usually pay for the IBs, what they would be asking for from the state government. So it's an effort from the state government and IB together to get to a place to showcase to the world that the downtrodden sections can also be taught IB. Quality of education could be made available here. And as far as the funds are concerned, Rajdeep, the school infrastructure is being upgraded totally. It's been a process where the total outlay is approximately, our people have projected the total outlay would be approximately 14,000 crores. We've already spent 8,300 crores already. We have a total of capacity of 44,000 schools. We've Nadu Nedu phase 1, 15,575 schools have already been completed. The second phase, unique schools of another 16,000 or so, or also the second phase activities going on in Nadu Nedu. We would be completing by this March or so. The second phase, which would be the last step for IFP panels also to be fitted in. So going forward, in 2 phases, covering almost 2/3 of the school, more or less is complete. The balance, 3rd phase, we would be taking up this activity in next year, and then we would be completing going forward in the next 1 or 2 years.
You know, I look at some of Andhra Pradesh's numbers. In 2018, Andhra Pradesh's gross enrollment ratio for primary education was 84.48% compared to a national average of 99.21%. Now, how do you make sure that those children don't drop out? That many of these children who are sort of throwing this great dream of giving them an opportunity to compete with the best and have the best systems, how do you do that? You have this scheme, the Jagannanna Amma Bodi. Are you basically doing what the Modi model is, if I may say so? Direct benefit transfers. I mean, not just Mr. Modi, but most governments now doing, put money in people's pocket and make sure that that money is used for a child's education.
In fact, what we're doing currently is, Rajdeep, when we had first visualized the situation, we were probably, our state was probably figuring in the bottommost, the GER ratio, as you just spoke about, figuring in the bottommost, probably in 36, 30, probably then it was...
Yeah, you were among the lower ranked states.
Probably then we were out of 36 states and union territories put together. Out of those 36, we were probably 32 or 33 then, figuring in the bottommost list. So that being the GER ratio, it was imperative on our part to come up with innovative things. One, figuring out as to why the children are not going to schools. It started off from there, and then the kind of transformation that is being brought about in schools, the transformation what has been brought about in midday meals. You know, our midday meals is probably one among the very few states probably who can boast about it. Every day the child eats a different menu. It's called Goru Mudda. We've christened that midday meal program as Goru Mudda, where a child eats a different food every day, and it's a menu.
It's interesting you're saying that, because I know that Tamil Nadu takes great pride in their midday meal scheme. They say how we give mango shake to students. Are you telling me Monday to Friday you give 5 different meals to your students?
Absolutely.
Our reporters can go and check this out across schools of Andhra Pradesh.
I thought they had already done it, but...
Yes, some of them have gone to school, but we will go back to each and every one since you're saying it.
You should, in fact. So, from there the transition, from there the transformation started. We've improved the quality of food in a midday meal, a motivating factor for parents to send children to school. Then infrastructure in the school was totally upgraded, is being upgraded, where we've targeted 10 specific modifications in schools which are to be done. Clean toilets, the classrooms, 6th and above IFPs, repairs, the furniture being upgraded, clean drinking water. These kind of specific details, what every school should have. So we focused on that and we ensured that these 10 are ticked off in every school.
How do you ensure oversight that what you're saying in Vijayawada is being implemented in every corner of the state? How do you ensure some element of accountability from each and every school? Because we've seen in the past, government schools have not maintained the standards that they should. There are exceptions.
We have, there's a thorough monitoring system in place. The headmasters, the school committees, the joint collectors, the collectors. There's a monitoring system in place, and every school is monitored. And at my level, since I personally monitor what's happening and I periodically take reviews, not only with the education department also, but with also the collectors also. So there is an element of, once if the CM himself is taking reviews, the government automatically moves on a particular subject.
Now I know why you spend so little time in Delhi, because you've got to do this level of micromanagement here in Andhra Pradesh. But one challenge, of course, is not just quality education, but also ensuring that education makes people employable. One of the challenges you've had in Andhra, even before you came to power, is unemployment. Graduates from Andhra had one of the highest unemployment rates in India at 35%. Is that a challenge to provide skills, make them either entrepreneurial or provide them the skills that will enable them to compete in this increasingly globalizing world?
The focus was just not only on schools alone, Rajdeep. Even the higher education also, a lot of focus was applied on. So much so that we changed the curriculum, made it more job-oriented. Our degrees, which are usually 3-year courses, are now internship is made mandatory in those courses, where the summer vacation also somebody utilizes for internship. And all these courses, degree courses, are made 4 years with an honors degree as well. So you have online verticals. You have certificate giving online verticals also being made, which are also being offered as part of the curriculum. So you have internship, which is mandatory. You have online verticals, part of the curriculum. In fact, so much so that we're inking a deal with edX. Going forward, I think next month we are inking a deal with them, where almost 1,800 subjects, if I'm correct, 1,800 subjects, where what we're doing, Rajdeep, is we're giving, in a particular subject, if somebody were to take, we're improving the verticals, making it part of the curriculum with credits. And these subjects are going to be directly from Harvard, LSE, these kind of premium institutes through edX would be offering these courses online.
Give me an example of a possible course that you think could be offered. Computers, what would be offered?
Say for instance, say BCom, for instance, or none of them know about asset management. None of them know about risk management. These kind of verticals you will find only in the Western world. a degree is offered which has got multiple verticals, specializations, which are offered, which are available to a student only in the Western world. Now, what we're doing is we're bringing those verticals become part of our curriculum here through online education, where credits are offered, and this certificate is from that particular university directly, with Harvard, with LSE, with LBS, and all these people become part of, through edX, become part of our curriculum. And this examination is conducted online once again, with the certificate finally being issued by these premium institute. LSE would give a certificate. Harvard would give a certificate. So that particular subject would now become a part of our curriculum with that particular subject certified by them.
You know, I've often said South India is way ahead of the North. And we are, you know, in these 20 minutes with the Chief Minister, you're getting a sense of just why South India is working in a completely different ecosystem. The reason, you know, Jagan Mohan Reddy ji, is because over the years, there was the Kerala model that pushed for literacy. There's Arvind Kejriwal, who also talks about raising the bar when it comes to government schools. But you seem to be building your own unique model. It's the Hyderabad public school student who's now decided that you want to invest in education for the future. Do you believe education can win you elections? That if I go to the people, and you've got an election, and we'll come to politics in a moment, but I go to the people and say, look, I have done ABC for you in the field of education. Do you believe that this vision of yours can win you also elections? Or are elections disconnected from your vision for education?
See, politics is something else, Rajdeep. Usually nobody bothers about the children, nobody bothers about the students because they are not voters. That's unfortunately the problem with our political leaders. But then the fact is, until and unless those lives are touched, are changed, you would never come to a stage where poverty could be removed, where poverty could be eradicated. Only with quality education given to these children in probably 10 years' time, where this generation actually who's in the first class comes out of the college, maybe 10th and 12th and then the college. In 10 years' time or 12 years' time or 13 years' time, you would see this generation actually displayed to the world. And when they are displayed to the world, you would actually be seeing such a kind of transformation that the pool, that the quality, what this quality of education would provide, this pool of students would be far more superior when compared to anybody, even in the globe. I mean, they would be competing at the global level.
So you're saying your vision is moving from literacy levels to quality education levels. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think the Chief Minister deserves a big hand in a way for reflecting that vision so openly. Even if you are half successful in this, you would have created some kind of an Andhra model for education. But I want to talk a bit of politics, if only because you've got an election in a couple of months, where you will be once again hitting the road. And I want to understand, how confident are you of getting re-elected? Is it easier now, 5 years, when you go to the people asking for votes on governance? Or is it easier when you were in the opposition in 2019, having done your yatra and taking on the Chandrababu Naidu government? Are you feeling more confident today than you were in 2019? Honest answer.
Rajdeep, hope is always stronger than reality. That having said, in this particular case, in my case, I would definitely say one thing. What has been done, what has been promised, what has been done, if one were to see the manifesto, 99% of our manifesto has been implemented. Not only implemented, but taken to the people as well, shown that manifesto once again, and that manifesto is also ratified by people. That is the kind of credibility that is in place in this government. And the kind of transformations that took place. We've brought in a village secretariat at the village level. For every 2,000 population, there is a village secretariat. For every 60 to 70 houses, there is a volunteer in place. Every scheme is given to every deserving person without any discrimination or without any corruption. Everything is DBT.
Direct benefit transfer, you're claiming that you're going this time to the elections on the basis of your manifesto, which you claim you've implemented, and your welfare measures across sectors, and putting money in people's banks. Am I correct?
The important thing is, Rajdeep, DBT is one part of the whole transformation. But the whole thing is, your schools have changed. Your health sector, the health sector has changed. The governance model has changed. Women empowerment has changed. And added to this, you're bringing in a DBT which is directly into the hands of the people without any corruption or any discrimination. That is the most, all this put together would ensure that my government would be re-elected.
You know, you're saying you'll be re-elected. You're saying you'll be re-elected on the welfare measures that you brought in. But this time it seems somehow that the entire opposition or a major part of it is targeting you. They are saying Jagan Reddy's government riddled with corruption. They will target you, and they consistently say promises not met. Is that now, do you feel cornered in some way when every party here seems to make you the target?
I think no opposition can say promises have not met. No opposition can speak about corruption. With 2,53,000 crores of rupees through DBT in these 56 months. That is the kind of money that we're talking about. And the worst part is, it's the same government, it's the same budget. The growth rate in debt also, when compared to my previous regime, is less in our regime. So how is it that a government, same budget, the only change is the chief minister? They could not do it. This government could do it. And people are actually the witness to it.
You know, you mentioned briefly their government versus your government, effectively referring to your predecessor, Chandrababu Naidu. Chandrababu Naidu and his team say that you have used state power to target them. You've stifled them. Their voice has been silenced. The former chief minister went to jail a couple of months ago. He blamed you for pushing, he said, cases against him, which he said was illegal. His arrest was illegal. Your response, this charge of vendetta politics, of settling scores in Andhra Pradesh?
Absolutely not, Rajdeep. See, the fact that he was arrested is because of the corruption charges that are leveled against him. And all these corruption charges have gone to the court. I mean, he fought tooth and nail in the court. And the judge and the judges at various levels were convinced with the evidences that were available, that were produced, which actually resulted in he being in prison for those 52 days or those 2 months. So how can anybody say that it is vendetta politics?
He says misuse of state CID.
See, basically, Rajdeep, nobody can misuse any government agency, because ultimately the litmus test would be the courts. See, anybody who is arrested would obviously go to the court. And in those courts, if the courts are not convinced that there is sufficient evidence there, then you fall flat. And more so in these particular high-profile cases, especially when the elections are around the corner, no chief minister would take that risk of arresting somebody until and unless the case is very strong, until and unless there is substantial evidence.
Who's your main opposition though in 2024? Is it the national parties like the Congress and the BJP, or is it Chandrababu Naidu who's tied up with Pawan Kalyan's Jansena? Is Andhra Pradesh this unique state where the fight is going to be between two powerful regional parties, YSRCP versus Telugu Desam Jansena?
In Andhra Pradesh, Rajdeep, the national parties, both of them are insignificant. Congress or the BJP, they do not have much of a presence here. Yes, the fight would be obviously our party, YSRCP, against the combined forces of Telugu Desam Party and Janasena, both of them. And of course, they have other like-minded people and parties supporting them who come together and fight against us.
You know, you were making the headlines, or your party has been making the headlines because 3 of your MPs have resigned, a third resigned this week. Apparently, many of them are being denied tickets. You dropped 58 MLAs and you're dropping 10 MPs. Is this a reflection that there could be anti-incumbency? Why are you dropping so many sitting MLAs and MPs if there is no anti-incumbency? And if they are leaving your party, what is the signal that's being sent out?
See, the fact is, Rajdeep, every party conducts their own surveys. And every party, based on those surveys, based on the perception they believe in, they would actually make these changes. See, the fact is, there is a government which is delivered. People are happy with the government. That's what we strongly believe. That's what the surveys, what we have conducted, have also revealed. But there are a lot of cases where the perception on the MLAs and the local leaders per se is not all that good. So at times, based on various caste dynamics, based on perception, that a party would be forced to make these changes. And in our case, elections just around the corner, just 70 or 80 days down the line. Rather than making those changes at the last minute and creating a lot of confusion, we decided that we will make those changes now itself, so that the entire confusion comes up now itself and it dies down before the elections come any closer.
Basically, you don't want to make the same mistakes that K. Chandrasekhar Rao made in Telangana, where he didn't change sufficient number of sitting MLAs. It's interesting how you're sort of putting it, but you said your main rivals are the regional parties, the Chandrababu Naidu and the Janasena, which leaves open the question, the national parties. We saw Mr. Naidu at the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha ceremony. He seems to want to go close to the BJP. You seem to have given issue-based support to the BJP in parliament on various issues. How do we read this? Is every Andhra party wooing the BJP and Prime Minister Modi?
So we've always maintained our line, Rajdeep. So it's very important that the state maintains a cordial relationship with the central government. It's very important that it is required for the development of the state. So we've maintained that line. And while maintaining so, we've ensured that every subject is thoroughly looked into and issue-based support is extended.
Issue-based support. So if even after the 2024 elections, if you win, you would provide issue-based support to whoever comes to power at the center, or specifically the BJP?
Let's revisit this topic when it's the right time.
But issue-based support for now, right?
Absolutely.
For now, issue-based support, which leaves the Congress party. Because that also is, Andhra is making headlines again because guess what? The Congress party has chosen to make your sister, Y.S. Sharmila, their party chief. I know this is difficult, but is it that the legacy of Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy is now going to be split within the family? How do you respond that you may well have to go into this election with your sister on the other side?
Congress is basically playing dirty, Rajdeep. Congress has got this tradition of playing dirty as far as state politics are concerned, in our states more specifically. They have divided the state for their own political gains. Unjustly divided the state, more so. Divide and rule. Be it the state, divide and rule, be it our family. Even when I had gone against the Congress party, they had pitted my own uncle. They had made him a minister, and they had forced him to contest against me when I had broken away from Congress party, when I had resigned from the Congress party in those days, and contested on our own party. The Congress always does this. They divide and rule. Unfortunately, now, once again, they've not learned their lessons. So once again, they've divided my family, brought in my sister to actually lead their party. But unfortunately, what they do not understand is ultimately there is a greater power than the Congress party or any of the parties here. There's a God there. And ultimately, God would ensure that these people are taught a lesson properly.
Are you angry, bitter? Because, when I look at it, your father, late father, was the one who helped the Congress form a government in 2004. There would have been no UPA government without Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy, both in 2004 and certainly in 2004, to some extent 2009. Are you angry, bitter, or it's part of life?
There were days, Rajdeep, when, that bitterness was there. But, as we moved on, ultimately, it is God it's God whom I strongly believe in that. That, ultimately, eventually, God is watching. So whatever they have done, they probably would have reaped by now, seeing what the plight of Congress party today is. Or probably going forward, it might even get worse off. It's only God who can decide.
It's interesting we are referring to God while we are here in Tirupati. So let me end by, in a way, reflecting back from the Jagannath Reddy that I first met about 15, 16 years ago when you first became a member of parliament. You've gone through all the ups and downs. What's the biggest change from the Jagannath Reddy that I met 15, 16 years ago as a young man entering politics to Jagannath Reddy now, a chief minister for 5 years, who's willing to go to the people on his track record, as you've told me in this interview? What's the biggest change that we've seen in you?
Change seen in me? Not sure, Rajdeep. I think you're a better judge. Probably you would be a better judge, probably, to tell me the change.
Well, one change I've seen, you're more cautious, careful, and you're also focusing almost entirely on governance more than politics. I want to tell this audience, when we were coming here, there was a young girl who came up to Jagannath Reddy and said, thank you, and put out the tablet that she had received on your birthday and said, I've got this because of you. Is that what gives you a sense of satisfaction at the end? of these 5 years. That if there are hundreds and thousands of that little girl out there who've got tablets, who perhaps have this opportunity for a quality education that you're promising them, that's what will give you the greatest satisfaction.
Absolutely, Rajdeep. These 56 months, I'd say, Rajdeep, have been those months where I can say to myself that I've done my bit. And no regrets. I've ensured that I've touched so many crores of people.
And you're going to and significantly, here is the Chief Minister who says, I'm going to the people of Andhra Pradesh in 2024 asking for votes on my record, right? Which the opposition is saying, we're ready to challenge you. You're saying, bring it on.
Absolutely, Rajdeep. In fact, all of my speeches in public meetings these days, I've been just telling one thing. If you have benefited from our governance, only then stand with me.
That's very bold. That shows a sense of confidence. And maybe that's one of the changes that's come from the young man who I met in 2009, who was at that time accused of being rather brash. Now I see the young man self-confident and ready to reach out to the people based on his work that he says he's done in the last 5 years. We'll see which way the people of Andhra Pradesh vote in a few months for now. But for now, for giving us your vision, particularly in the education sector and the road ahead, the Andhra model of education, as we are now going to call it, Jagan Mohan Reddy, ladies and gentlemen, please give him a very big hand. Thank you so much.